And welcome to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Camp Myers. Glad you're with us. We're here every week talking about interesting topics and visiting with interesting people. And, you know, it won't be long before we'll be basketball season.
We'll be shooting hoops.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
that's
you
what,
will.
Well, if I can, I'll do it if I can get Joe Crawford to teach me how again. We have Joe Crawford and Shane Wagner on today to talk about Sports City U hoops. Some of the stuff they do training young people to become basketball players, and moreover about their free camp that's coming up tomorrow here in Oklahoma City, and they're going to tell us about that.
That's right. It's time for football season to start, but basketball is much higher profile today than it's ever been before in the state of Oklahoma. We'll learn more about basketball and the fundamentals today on The Verdict. Stay with us.
Driving rain, blistering heat, and bitter cold. 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Chesapeake drills non-stop for natural gas on American soil. Chesapeake drills more new gas wells than anyone else, and from those wells collects the most drilling information and acquires more 3D seismic images, leveraging every efficiency to improve the odds of finding more natural gas every day with every well we drill. The better job we do of discovering bigger reserves of clean-burning American natural gas, the greater the prosperity of our nearby communities, our state, and our nation. And as long as there are more gas reserves to be found here in the U.S., we will never rest. Chesapeake. Natural gas wins the day.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
And welcome once again to The Verdict. Mick Cornett with Camp Myers, and Kent's going to introduce today's guest.
Today we're really pleased to have joining us once again Joe Crawford. Joe is one of the co-owners of Sports City U Hoops, the basketball academy stationed here in Oklahoma City and in Edmond. He did his undergraduate work at Oklahoma Christian University. He played college basketball also in West Virginia. He has coached at the high school and college level, both basketball and other sports, and this is his second visit. Joe, welcome back.
Thank you guys very much. Good to be here.
On my left is a visitor making his first appearance on The Verdict, Shane Wagner. Shane did his undergraduate work at Ohio University, got a master's degree in sports administration. He is Joe's partner in Sports City U Hoops. He has coached at the high school and college level and was an assistant at the University of Colorado when Chauncey Billups played there, and he had a good bit to do with Chauncey Billups' development. He's an assistant coach, as I say, at Colorado, then has joined Joe with Sports City U and is in charge of a good part of the basketball program here. Shane, welcome.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome to the show. Good to have you all here. Well, for those who may have never heard of your program, explain from a basic point of view, what is Sports City U?
Well, I think that the general premise that was started was it was a skill development program. And it was basically a year-round basketball camp, you know, so people would understand it. That's basically what it was. Kids would come in from all ages, and we'd just start working with them on their skills, mainly their offensive skills, their ball handling and shooting and passing, and teaching them to be a better offensive player. And just over the years, it's just evolved. I mean, it's become teams. It's become performance sports training, you know, to help them with their athleticism. And it's become competitive teams where they travel and we do exposure events for them so they can get recruited into colleges. So
well, is this just for the person who wants to take it seriously? I mean, if you have a child who just kind of wants to play, would they be just overwhelmed by the amount of instruction and the competition?
No, it is from, I mean, my daughters are 8, 6, and 4, and they're all involved. And it's really at the most basic level. It starts just teaching them how to dribble, and it teaches them a little bit about team concepts. And from that, it just evolves as they develop. There's an opportunity for them at each stage or phase of their basketball development to be involved in our program, even at the highest level with our college players.
Well, Shane, about how many kids in a given year would be exposed to your program?
Well, with our you know, our individual skill training, our teams and camps, you're looking at probably 500 to 600 kids a year that we have exposure to, and that's all over the country. We spend a great part of the month of June back in Ohio and West Virginia training teams that you know, we grew up with their coaches. You know, we played with their coaches. You know, so we get a chance to go back and see them as well. And you know, locally, you're looking at probably 300 to 400 kids a year, probably at a minimum.
What's the breakdown, if you can, just approximately, of young men versus young women, boys versus girls?
In our program, at the younger age, it's probably 60-40 boys. As they get older, it switches to probably 60 to 70% girls as they get into the junior high and high school age.
Why is that?
Girls, we've noticed that girls tend to, and this has been everywhere. This is not just here. This has been everywhere. Girls, as they get older and you know, want to develop, they look for outlets to do that. And there's not a lot of places that cater to females. You know, our programs cater to females as well as males, but a lot of the AAU organizations or places like that cater to the guys. You know, every guy's dad wants to start a team, but not every girl's dad wants to start a team. So we kind of cater or give them an outlet for their basketball development.
When you're watching an NBA game or even a Division I game, are you watching for form and fundamentals, and you're saying, man, I wish I'd had that guy 10 years ago when he was growing up. I think I could have straightened him out.
You know, we say that and we watch that. We also understand that there are a lot of great coaches and a lot of great, you know, professionals out there in the professional organizations. But it's funny, I've watched it growing up as a fan. Then as a coach, I watched basketball looking for the X's and O's and strategies. And now as a instructor or an individual instructor, I look for their footwork. I look for their those are the things you look at. So it's, you know, the way I've looked at basketball changed, you know, about every 10 years. So, yeah.
Joe, let me ask you, if you have that many kids involved in over a given period of time, you two guys can't do it all. Do you have other people on your staff with good qualifications?
Yeah, this summer we functioned right at 267 kids in our competitive team programs this summer. And so because of that, we typically operate somewhere around 15 to 19 part-time coaches that are affiliated with our program, which means they train with us, they go through our development, they understand our skills that we teach, and then as we teach the kids, they go and replicate or repeat the things that we give them instruction-wise to those kids on our teams.
Well, now, a kid in the competitive program would practice here in Oklahoma City, I take it?
Well, they do, but our kids are literally from all over the state. We have kids coming from Leedy, Hobart, Ponca City. We have kids from Broken Bow. I mean, all over the state are coming here once a week to do their practice and their skill work, and then they may come back once or twice a week to do their speed and agility, vertical jump stuff. So,
but is there a time when the tournaments start?
Well, we typically start in February with our competitive teams. As soon as their high school basketball, the state championships are over, most of our high school kids come back to us late February, early March, middle March, and then they play until August, the first week of August. So it's a 5 or 6 month program with those particular 260-some kids, which gives us about 25 teams about.
Is there one best way to shoot a basketball? And I'm not asking you to give away any secrets here, but do you look at a person or a young person and say, you know, we can work with that? Or do you try to make them fit into one particular mold about the shooting process?
Well, we call our shooting method natural shooting alignment, which it gives kids the flexibility for every kid who God has obviously made differently, the ability to shoot in a little bit of a different manner, but they all have to pretty much adhere to our methods. And that means I give a little bit of variance, but we only teach one style of shooting. And there's a lot of different ways that people teach to shoot the basketball. Ours just happens to be the best.
Shane, I don't doubt that. Shane, Shaquille O'Neal hits about half his free throws. What's his problem? I mean, obviously, there's no shortage of people willing to help him, and I assume he practices as much as any of the other big guys. Why can't he hit 75%?
It's interesting because when I was working at our Sports City in West Virginia, we had sent his coaches and his trainers one of our videos. And the gentleman who started Sports City U, you know, back in 1992, a guy by the name of Jim Clayton, has actually worked with his shooting coach, Shaq's shooting coach. And Shaq, when he was growing up, broke his wrist. Okay, so he can't get his wrist back to get under the basketball. So everything he shoots, and you see him at the line, his wrist is not cocked. So when he lifts the ball, he can't get under it. So it becomes a very, you know, with a very stiff wrist shot, he poses a unique problem, you know. So it was based on an injury when he was younger to his wrist that doesn't allow him to cock his wrist.
We got to go to a break. Although I heard you use a term, Shaquille O'Neal shooting coach. I don't know that anyone would want that label.
I'm sure he's pretty good.
Yeah,
you know?
I bet his business card says something else.
Yeah.
We'll be back. Joe Crawford, Shane Wagner. We're talking about Sports City U and all sorts of stuff that has to do with basketball and the fundamentals and getting kids involved and how young people grow into be fine adults with the help of sports. You're watching The Verdict, and we'll be right back.
I'm Mike Larson. I'm an artist, and I am Chickasaw. We were fortunate enough to start doing more and more work with the Chickasaws, largely because of Bill Addertubby. We developed, with his help and with his graces, a series of paintings on the Chickasaw elders. I would interview them, I would do sketches, we would talk about their history, some of it phenomenal, and then we would come away from that, go home, and I would do paintings. First thing I will look at when I look at a person is their eyes. You look at their eyes, you look at their hands, you can tell everything you need to about a person. These people portrayed to me strength and character, filled with an integrity and a joy of life. The wonderful thing about it, aside from the paintings, is the way that it brought me back into the Chickasaw family. It has made me more Chickasaw. It has made me more Chickasaw than I ever thought I could be.
Home values are down in some states, but not in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's home values have increased 4.2% during the past 12 months. Unlike some states where home values have decreased as much as 20%. Good thing you're in Oklahoma. There may be real estate problems in some states, but there has never been a better time than now to buy or sell a home in Oklahoma. One of the most affordable states in the country, Oklahomans are buying and selling homes every day, and an Oklahoma Realtor can show you how. Good thing you're in Oklahoma.
That land next door was a mess. Take more than a lawnmower to revive that land. I heard the oil and natural gas people was cleaning up old oil sites, and it wouldn't cost us a plug nickel. Oh yes, sir, it was quite a revival. The whole church showed up, want to make a playground for the kids. It sure is a blessing.
Welcome back to The Verdict. This is a basketball fundamental show, and I don't know if you're going to be a better shooter when this show is over, but you're certainly going to know a lot more about Sports City University and how young people can get involved in basketball and skills and all sorts of benefits that come with athletics.
Yeah, Shane, talk, and then Joe, you chime in as you'd like. Tell us about what kind of benefits a young person may derive from becoming involved in your program, not simply from the standpoint of being a better shooter, but perhaps being a better person.
Well, we've had a lot of kids come through our program that come into the program for a lot of different reasons. You know, I've had people, you know, obviously kids want to come in and get the, or, you know, take what they learn and become college basketball players. But I've also had parents come to me and say, you know what, I don't want my kid to be picked last on the playground. You know, so our program is very diverse in that we allow kids from all different skill levels to come in. So you're learning, you know, kids are learning to be more confident, you know, with what they do. Kids are learning discipline. Kids are learning hard work. They're seeing the value of that. And they also want to belong to something. You know, there's a lot of kids out there that want to belong to something, and this gives them an outlet to belong.
What have you noticed in kids that graduate from the program?
The kids that we've had, you know, they keep in touch with us. You know, I'll get emails or phone calls from those kids, and they're very disciplined. They're very hard workers. They've seen what it takes to be successful on the basketball court, so they apply a lot of those same successes to what they're doing in college or what they're doing now out of college in the workforce.
Well, Joe, you've had success over the years with your teams and with your individuals. Can you comment on that a little
Well,
bit?
we have. I'm speaking, you know, from a father of girls, but I don't think there's another program or system out there that really teaches kids, like Shane was mentioning, the discipline, the self-motivation, which is huge for us. We really try to teach kids to be self-motivated, not having a coach force you to do your training, do your work, you know. Not having your parents force you to clean your room and do the things, yes, you know, that they always ask you to do, but to do it on your own. And I have had girls who really started off with a rough family background and just really not a good overall environment for growing up, become very successful young ladies. Just, you know, not just all Americans in college, but good mothers. And we really like that about our program. And the fact that we get to not only get to know the kids, but be a part of their families, you know, as they grow and develop. So that's been important.
Well, we've seen coaches on the sidelines, on television and the like, yelling and screaming and perhaps yelling obscenities and all. I've been around your program long enough to know several years to know that we can go to any one of your practices or any one of your games, and we won't hear that from anybody you've got on your staff. Why is that?
Well, one, we really try to focus on the moral side of sports. You know, we see that. We see it in the news, we see it in the media, but that's not what we're about. We're about the skill development, and along with that goes, you know, how we play our teams. We try to play our kids at every position. We try to teach them that we are really developing them as a whole person and a whole athlete. And so off the court, we want them to be able to represent our program as well as on the court, and we really try to hold their parents to the same level, you know, of discipline. We don't want their parents yelling at the refs and, you know, yelling at other players and, you know, yelling at other fans. So we really try to make our program top notch.
Let's talk about a free basketball camp you've got coming up, because I imagine there's some people that are watching this and says, yeah, you know, that might be nice, but I don't know that I could afford these guys, you know, to teach my kid. And I know you have some that you don't charge for. What are the details of that?
Well, there's two different things there that we probably should talk about. One is our scholarshiping phase of our competitive teams. We have many kids in our program that just can't afford to do the competitive team play. Although many of those kids will also reap the benefits by getting college scholarships. Approximately 90% of our kids go on and play college basketball at some level. And so some of the kids that just can't afford that, we reach out to the community for donations. We try to get companies to scholarship kids, and through our USA Hoops program, which is our nonprofit aspect of Sports City U, and it really helps fund some of those kids who are just can't do it financially. And along those lines, we're also offering a free basketball camp this year that'll start the 24th of August. And that particular camp is going to be a 3-day camp. It's going to be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. And those kids, and the ages are 6 and up.
Right.
And those kids can come in and sign up, and you can actually get on our website at sportscityhoops.com, and you'll be able to sign up there. You can also show up the day of the camp. This is going to give people who have not experienced our program an opportunity to be involved with our coaches, our staff, see what we're about, get to know our staff in a way that we hope will develop a long-term relationship with those families.
Well, tell us more about it, Shane. Where is it going to be?
It's going to be at the Lighthouse.
And tell our viewers where that is.
Right, that's up on Hefner Road and Hefner Parkway. Northwest
intersection of
At the
Hefner Road.
intersection, yep, at the intersection of Hefner Parkway and Hefner Road. It's going to be, the 3 days. This is kind of goes into our 10th anniversary. This is our 10th anniversary, our 10th year in Oklahoma City, and it's kind of a way that we can kind of give back to a lot of the people and to the community that supported us so to this aspect so far. It's been great for us. So we're going to have this free camp Monday, Tuesday. We're going to have a big celebration on Thursday evening where the kids are going to take some of the things that we've learned Monday, Tuesday, put them into some game type situations on Thursday, have all the parents come, maybe have some drawings for some free giveaways. I mean, it's going to be a really neat event, all celebrating the 10th anniversary of Sports City U.
We'll put some website information on at the end of our show
Great.
also, so people who weren't able to catch
Great.
that web address can get it
Great.
there.
Why'd you decide to do this free camp this year?
Well, I mean, part of it is obviously because of our 10th anniversary, but along the lines of what you had mentioned earlier, there's a lot of people who just haven't had the opportunity to experience our skill development and our training. And that's really what we're about. We really want even kids that play for other organizations to be able to come in and feel like they can train with us and get the skills that they need. We have several players who have graduated out of our program, but one specifically who just may go overseas and play in Spain here soon is Shantae Smith. And many people know Shantae, who also played at Oklahoma State University, had a great career there.
Well, she set the school record for number of consecutive starts, I think.
Yes, she did, and really became just an anchor for that program and really represents a lot of what we're trying to teach the kids that are coming through our program. And through this free camp, we expect a lot of kids to be able to come in and experience some of the same type of training that Shantae went through when she was a kid.
Shane, when you're watching Sports Center, give me a handful of players in the NBA. Who are the best shooters out there? Who fundamentally are the guys that just knock your socks off?
There's some really good guys out there, as we get a chance to watch. And Ray Allen for the Boston Celtics is really good. Chauncey Billups, who I had the opportunity to coach, he's a guy he's a really good shooter. He's a really good player, but he's a guy who just works hard.
Mm-hmm.
But at that level, all those guys have to work hard. And he's one of those guys that kind of takes it to another level. Steve Nash. I watch a guy like Steve Nash, who's 6'0" and can play in the league and be as successful as he is. You've got to be very skilled. And guys like that, those are the guys I really enjoy watching.
And Joe, what about you?
Well, one of the people that comes to mind is Renee from Connecticut.
Yeah.
That Shane worked with a few times.
Renee Montgomery.
Renee Montgomery. And from the female perspective, those girls who really put in the effort have the opportunity to go as high as they want, because there's just not a lot of fundamental opportunities out there for girls. And when they take advantage of that, they could play at the level of Renee Montgomery.
We're going to have to wrap it up there. Thanks both of you for coming on the show. Shane Wagner, Joe Crawford, appreciate what you're doing. The free camp is coming up, and we'll be giving details in our final segment after this break about the website and how you can go there and get free information. We'll be right back.
It's time to meet the new people in power.
The people responsible for our energy future.
It's you.
It's me. All of us together.
From now on, we're the people in power.
OG&E will supply the power.
It's how we apply the power that counts.
We've got to use electricity smarter,
wiser,
cleaner,
Better.
So we've got to be informed, equipped, prepared.
committed.
From now on, look, nobody wants to waste energy.
Nobody wants to build new power plants.
Nobody wants to pay more for electricity.
But nobody wants to give up their way of life.
We don't have to.
If we just use positive energy together.
I'll take advantage of off-peak hours.
That means cutting energy use from 1 to 7 every day.
Every day. I'm going to sign up for more and more wind power.
We'll take advantage of the high-tech tools coming soon from OG&E.
OG&E can't do it alone.
It's you and OG&E working together.
Find dozens of ways you can help at OGE.com.
A positive energy future is in our power. Together.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information. And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to The Verdict. We're wrapping up a show about Sports City Hoops.
Yeah, a few viewers out there have children or grandchildren that want to get involved in a good program. This is one that we can heartily recommend. They will do wonders for your child, and I encourage you to get in touch with them.
Their website is sportscityhoops.com. Our website, theverdict.tv. We'll see you next week on The Verdict.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.
And